Hello, everyone. Happy lunchtime. Thank you for joining us today on our rebuilding rally. We're so excited to be here. As people are filtering in, feel free to grab your lunch, peanut butter and jelly, salad, whatever you have. We won't mind. You can eat. No bother to us. If you're looking for the pun of the day, I have the pun of the day today. It's "You're the best." Um, okay.
Perfect for the year of the snake.
Yes, exactly. So everyone can take their seats and get ready. Here we go. So if anyone doesn't know me, my name is Laura Jackson. I am chairman of the board of Rebuilding Together NYC, and I am so excited to have you all here today for our rally. Whether you've been part of RTNYC for many years, or maybe you're just learning about us today, today's all about coming together to make a real impact. Our mission is to ensure that every New Yorker has a safe and healthy home, and we could not do this work without people like you. So before we jump in, I wanted to take a moment and have you think about, what does home mean to you? Does it mean safety? Does it mean stability? Feel free to drop a word or two in the Q&A about what home means to you, and then we'll circle back to those. While you're thinking about it, I thought I would let you know about why I joined the board of Rebuilding Together NYC. I joined a little over 10 years ago. I just gotten divorced. I have twin daughters that at the time were very little. They were probably about 4 or 5. And I wanted, obviously, to model something I wanted them to learn, to give back to the community, and wanted them to be involved in very charitable missions. And home meant everything to us. Being able to be home with my daughters and provide them a safe and healthy home, that was the foundation of our family, and it meant so much. So I really wanted to be able to give that to other people in New York that maybe didn't have it so easy to be able to have a home. So let's look in the chat, see what we've got here. Let's see, people are writing. Okay, I see warm, I see family, memories. All right, very good, very good. Yeah, I agree. That is what home means to me too. And that's exactly why we're here today. So because for too many people in New York City, having a safe and stable home isn't a given. So that's something that we can work to change together. So today's rally, we're going to share the impact of our work, the challenges our community is facing, and most importantly, how you can be part of the solution. So let's get started. Without further ado, to kick things off, I'd like to introduce our Executive Director, Valerie Payne. She leads our work on the ground every day. So who better to explain the mission of Rebuilding Together but Valerie?
Thank you, Laura. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. It means a lot that you're taking a little bit of time to learn more about the work that Rebuilding Together NYC does. And to answer Laura's question, Rebuilding Together's mission is very simple and straightforward. It's to repair homes, rebuild lives, and revitalize communities.
Okay, I heard 3 R's. That's a mouthful.
3 R's.
Which is your favorite child, Valerie? Which one do you want to start
Laura,
with?
I'm not going to fall into that trap.
All right, all right.
I love
no
them
favorite child, no favorite child. As my kids say, favorite child check. There is not one here. All our missions matter. So let's start with repairing homes.
Yeah, so the
Tell
work
us
that
about
we
it.
do to repair homes is critical. We are working with low-income homeowners in all 5 boroughs to make sure that they can continue to live in a safe and healthy home, like Laura referenced earlier. It is critical that especially older adults or people living with disabilities can access their bathrooms and their kitchens, get in and out of their home, and are not living in an environment that's unhealthy with a dripping roof or a leaky pipe or outdated electrical wiring that could be a fire hazard. So the work that we're doing is literally critical. It's not cosmetic. It might result in some cosmetic improvements, but it has to be critical, and it has to be integral to the safe and the health of the home.
Got it. I hear sometimes, like, people might want to understand what the need is. They might hear, oh, but these people have homes, they're not homeless. Is this really where we should be focusing our efforts?
Yes, I think it's critical to work with homeowners because the vacancy rate and rental units in New York City is 1.4%, the lowest in decades. If they are forced to move out of their home, they could A, become homeless, or B, not find a place to live and become doubled up. And as we all know, affordable housing is a shortage in the city. And for seniors, it's even a bigger problem. The number of seniors living in shelters more than doubled from 2014 to 2022. And starting in 2022, the demand for senior housing began outstripping the supply. And the projection is by 2030, there will be a shortfall of 550,000 units. So it's really important that we keep our seniors, if they're in a home that they own, continuing to live in that home, making it safe and accessible so that they can not just continue to live in their home, but maintain it as a family asset.
That reminds me of a story. Someone we helped years ago, they were unfortunately wheelchair bound and they had been stuck in their home for quite some time. And we were able to put a ramp in, and the look on this woman's face when she was able to leave her home, and I know she went to church that first weekend and the whole community was so happy to welcome her back. And just being able to give people that freedom, that flexibility to live their life and be part of the community is so important.
It's huge. We had a similar, we have a similar story just from last year. We had a wheelchair user who she feared being trapped in her home if it caught on fire. And with the installation of a ramp, she was much more comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are real issues.
Real issues. Okay, so that's repairing homes, the first R. You also said rebuilding lives. That sounds like a very large undertaking. How are we rebuilding lives?
Well, technically, we are providing an opportunity for folks to build a bridge to a brighter future with a career in construction. They are rebuilding their own lives if they choose this path. And it's so important to us that we get folks access to union apprenticeships because there are great paying jobs with incredible benefits, access to retirement funds, and continuing education, not just for them, in some cases also for their children. And those kinds of benefits just don't exist that often in such a comprehensive manner. So we're working with folks that are unemployed or underemployed, skilling them and giving them the certifications they need to become an apprentice with one of the construction trades and access a career in construction and work in construction in New York City, which has one of the lowest barriers to entry. So if they have any challenges in their past, if they just have a high school equivalency or diploma, they can get into a union apprenticeship and launch that career.
And how long is the program that we run, and what's involved in what they're learning? Yeah,
the program is 6 weeks in length. It's a combination of curriculum from the Home Builders Institute, pre-apprenticeship certificate training, a hands-on project where they build a toolbox, visits to apprenticeship training centers and active construction sites where they can actually see and experience their next steps post-graduation. And then we talk a lot about union culture, what it's like to work on a construction site, the expectations. Early is on time is a big tenet that we emphasize. And really just preparing folks with guest speakers from different trades to talk about their own experiences and what it's meant for them to be a union member and what it takes to succeed. So it's a great holistic program with a lot of components crammed into those 6 weeks.
Awesome. I bet field trip day is the best day, going to visit the sites. I bet everybody loves that.
That is when I check in with the cohorts and ask, like, what would you do differently, or, what would you change? They always say more hands-on and more site visits. It just brings everything to life.
For sure. So I see a lot of people trickling into this webinar. I wonder if there's anyone out there that is responsible for a development site. Is that an opportunity then to get involved? Maybe our cohort could go tour the development site, the construction site?
Yeah, the construction site visits are critical. They're so much fun and so important. And it doesn't matter what stage of the construction it is. It doesn't matter if it's a small project or a large project. There's so much to be learned from those visits, from whatever stage it is. So yeah, if there's anybody online today that works for a construction company or has a colleague that does, if you could, pass that along. We are always looking for additional site visit options for our students. So thank you. That's great. Good for pointing that out. Thank you, Laura.
Sure. Okay, so we've done repair homes, rebuild lives. The third prong is revitalize communities.
Yes, and I like to say, and I say often, all of our work contributes to revitalizing New York City communities. But the program area that's specific to community revitalization are our build days. So we have the opportunity to partner with other nonprofits and with corporate groups who want a team building day or to do some community service and give back, to host them doing a variety of tasks. We've done a lot of community gardens over the past few years. But just last week, actually, Laura's colleagues from SL Green came up to East Harlem to a NYCHA development at a community center where they made a library come to life. They had a room full of books and a couple of shelves, but the books were not organized and they did not have enough shelving. So Laura's colleagues came in and built a bunch of bookcases and made a real library for those kids in that community center, which was huge.
That's great. Yeah, I love when we can partner with other community centers and do these projects that really affect so many people, right? So many people go through the community centers. Like we did a project at Kingsbridge Heights years ago, and we did so much work there, painting and cleaning and building I think we built computer
desks, right?
Yes,
we redid
yes.
their amphitheater, their
Yep.
garden beds.
Yes, yes.
We painted their offices, their youth room.
And we learned that 100% of the students that go through that community center go to college, which is incredible stat. I mean, that's really incredible. So the work there is so important.
Yeah, those community centers in general are super important to New York City because it gives kids a safe, productive place to go after school. And
Right.
they offer camps, for when working parents have to work when the kids have a break from school. They offer camps. So they're super critical, I think, to healthy communities in New York City.
Yeah. So you mentioned garden beds, and I know when we started getting into this area, my first reaction was like, garden beds, that sounds cosmetic. Are we putting flowers out? Because we need to do critical work that people really need. And then I learned 1 in 3 children in the Bronx actually don't have access to fresh produce. So this is not garden beds to have flowers. This is really crucial to communities that don't have access to that fresh food where, the kids need this food, brain power and health and all, elderly people too, right?
That's right. And in 2 of the past 3 years, we built 16 garden beds in 2 different areas in the Bronx, enabling folks to plant their own produce and grow vegetables and herbs and fruit that they can use in their homes, which is free to them, provided they plant the seeds and maintain it. It's an incredible option that didn't exist. So, and one of them was an abandoned lot, a vacant lot that was overgrown. I think on 167th and Prospect in the Bronx. The nonprofit we partnered with, Southeast Bronx Neighborhood Centers, cleared the lot, and we built 16 garden beds with over 100 volunteers in one day.
In one day, yeah.
Yeah, and the neighbors coming by were so excited. They kept asking, "Remember what are you guys doing here?"
Oh my gosh, that
like
the one woman that said,
"Can we have such a large group?"
She was like, "Can we please have cucumbers?" And I was like, "You can have whatever you want. This is going to be your garden when we're done." I also remember the giant pile of dirt that was delivered there and how amazingly tired my back felt at the end of that day. And I will also share that my favorite days of the year are days that I get to go out and volunteer with my hands and shovel the dirt and paint and do the work, because there is no feeling like when you sit on the couch in your home that night knowing what you did all day and the impact you have in the community. But I can tell you that night my back was definitely very tired.
You weren't the only one. I can guarantee it. That was a big undertaking, that giant pile of dirt. Wow.
That was for sure. So part of revitalizing communities, maybe I'll touch on She Builds, such an
Yes.
important part of what we do. Yeah.
Yes.
So about 6, 7 years ago, another Lori Grasso from Hunton, she and I founded She Builds. We're co-chairs of it now. It is a group of women in real estate. We get together instead of networking at the bar. We network in the boardroom, and we spend our time planning a community revitalization day, like Valerie's been talking about. So last summer we went to the Bronx. We actually had 200 people come to the Bronx on one day. In the summer, we thought everyone would be in the Hamptons, but people came to the Bronx because they really wanted to help, and we had such a great She Builds Day that day. One of the cohorts from Careers in Construction came out, and they had their own garden bed that they built. And it was probably one of my favorite, I think it was my favorite She Builds Day so far. Um,
You have
it
a
really
favorite.
was. Now I have a favorite, not my favorite thing we do, but it was my favorite She Builds Day, I will say. So yeah, so we're planning this year, July 24th is our She Builds date. So part of the rally is for everyone to save their calendars, and we'll send out all the dates of what's upcoming to the group that's joined afterwards. But July 24th, mark your calendars. We have She Builds Day coming up. Opportunities for sponsorships are available. Also, our gala. Can I mention our gala now, Valerie?
Yes, June
These are
12th.
these are my two babies. So I started the gala 10 years ago. It was after our organization had spent so much time on Hurricane Sandy relief, and we just needed a sustainable way to continue doing the great work that we were doing. And so we started our gala, and each year we get to honor people in the community that are really making a difference. And so this year we're honoring Mesa Vahidi from Arbor Realty Trust. The gala will be on June 12th. Tickets are available on our website, and sponsorships are available. Hopefully we get a lot of our repeat companies to come out and sponsor the gala. It's going to be a great time at Ascent Lounge over in Columbus Circle. And also we have golf coming up too,
We have
right?
the golf outing, May 15th,
Yes.
at the New York Country Club, which is it's in New York, but it feels like we're going into New Jersey because we have to drive up the Palisades to get there. But it's a lovely, sweet course, not hugely difficult, and it has a great little view of the skyline of New York City from the terrace, where we have a fun cocktail hour at the end of the day for everybody. And there will be a pro clinic. So there will be somebody there with giving tips. So we welcome folks of all abilities. I personally do not golf. I usually just drive around and say thank you and make sure beverages are full on the golf course. But this year I might actually try to golf. Maybe.
I think you should do it. You should do
But
it.
it's a fun day. So, and we do it in, May every year. And it's one of those earlier outings. So it's a nice time to get out of the office, to network with colleagues and have a little fun at the same time, all in support of rebuilding together.
And get the kinks out in your swing, one of the first outings of the year. It's good to just get a little practice. I should be at the pro clinic all day, admittedly, but I will be on the course, and after a few drinks, everything will feel great. So perfect.
It's a lot
Okay,
of fun.
so that's coming up. Yeah, I'm just so excited about the year ahead. I just want to mention too, the spring and fall rebuild days. So back in the day, many, years ago, we used to always do spring and fall rebuild day. Rebuilding Together NYC is part of the national chapter of Rebuilding Together, that was founded as Christmas in April, which was a volunteer day in spring. And so it wouldn't be, we wouldn't be in touch with our roots without, bringing that back. So spring rebuild day we're doing, and fall rebuilding day. That's an opportunity for people to really just come out and get involved as well in some of this garden beds and the work that we're talking about in community revitalization.
Yeah, that's a great point, Laura. Yeah, we're excited to actually do both. Last year, we brought back the Fall Rebuilding Day, which was really fun. We had about 4 companies come out, also do some garden beds. They did some fancier garden beds that have benches on the side.
Yes,
That was an interesting twist.
you upped the game on that one. I think I
That we
finally
did.
learned how to build a garden bed, and then you tried to put benches on them, and really some were taller so they could grow, the vine vegetables, which are important.
Right. For folks that couldn't lean over or sit on their knees to get into the the garden bed to do the planting. They're taller for that reason as well. They're a little more accessible. We also did picnic tables.
Mm.
Um, we
And
have
that,
go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I was just going to say the picnic tables are important because we were doing the work at a center for people who were formerly incarcerated, and it's a place where they reunite with their children. And so just spending a couple of days there and seeing it, it's really important. They sit with their kids, do homework and coloring, and having those picnic tables was meaningful.
Yeah, yeah, they could spend time outside together, which is so great for everybody's mental health, being outside and being in a greener environment.
Yeah.
And they'll have that now, which is exciting. We have a question in the chat.
Okay.
I work at a company and wish they did. Feel free, everybody, to put, if you have any questions in the chat, feel free to jump in. But somebody's asking if their company wants to do a build day, what should they do? And I would say email us at events@rebuildnyc.org, and we'll put that in the chat. Events@rebuildnyc.org. Yeah, we are planning for the year. We have a number of sites confirmed, and we are, looking for sponsors. So, and spring and fall rebuilding day is a nice way to get involved with your company and your colleagues and to meet other folks as well. It's a group of, between 30 and 50. So it's a nice size, but not as big as our She Builds Day, which is a lot. So it's a good way to just get some experience and check it out.
Yeah, and if you're not sure of who to approach, oftentimes you can go to whoever, leads your group at work, but sometimes it's within the HR department you go to, sometimes people focus on DEI, whatever it may be. But it's always nice to, get a few colleagues that want to do it and then, sort of approach management and say, hey, can we do this build day? We see most companies, end up getting the support for it. And to go out and spend the day with your colleagues building something is far more meaningful than going to lunch with them. It is, I know I have one of our colleagues here was really, really helpful with one of the careers in construction graduates that came to the She Builds Day. And he and I went and actually picked out a soup for one of the graduates. And we now, every time I see him in the kitchen, we have that bond because we know, the impact we had on somebody. So it's a really great thing for companies to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
So Valerie, you've
a great question.
been at Rebuilding Together now for 6 years, leading the organization.
Almost 6. May it'll be 6.
Wow, congrats. A lot is so. I have two questions on that. One is what keeps you coming back every day, right? Like what keeps the mission fresh to you? And then probably in that 6 years, things have changed a little bit. I think, maybe things are a little more dire and important in New York City than they were maybe 6 years ago. So maybe you could touch on some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that keeps me going every day is just the fact that we do these 3 different lines of work under the same umbrella. It makes us a very unique little nonprofit. In the sea of many nonprofits in New York City. We really are different. And I like that. I like the fact that our roots and our kind of core mission is neighbors helping neighbors. It's people helping each other. And we have that ability to bring people together through our build days to do community service. It's, as we've already discussed, I think so meaningful for us as an organization to give back to another nonprofit, which is also unique. And also awesome to bring folks out of the office to make a contribution. And the other thing is that, the unemployment rate in New York City is 5.7% higher than the nation's. The poverty rate is 5.7% higher than the nation's. And Hispanic and Black New Yorkers have higher poverty rates of 24.8% and 21.7%. respectively. Those are alarming figures. The fact that we can do something to have an impact to try to reduce that by putting people to work in good paying jobs and making sure that they can maintain a family asset, their home, to pass on to future generations, it helps. And those are both like super important to me. The other thing, during the past 2 years or so, we've been serving more young adults, 18 to 24-year-olds in careers in construction. Their unemployment rate is 13.6%.
Wow.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And, we all know if you get onto like a not so healthy path, it's very hard to get off of it over time. So
Yeah.
we're really excited to be serving more 18 to 24-year-olds and putting them on the path to a great employment opportunity and a great career. So all of that is, it's super important to me. My background is in workforce development, so I've been doing that kind of work for a long time. I also worked for many years with homeless service providers, helping the unhoused. So I know firsthand how important it is to have, I mean, everybody does, but when you're working with folks that are unhoused, it just hits home so much more, the meaning of a safe and healthy home and a place to call home. Without a home, you cannot keep a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all of that combined that I think keeps me going every day. I'm very motivated by our mission.
That's great. The roof always gets me. Whenever I so just something about like when we replace roofs on homes, it's like just putting like the cherry on top and the safety that like caps it all. Like just knowing, if a parent comes home and has children coming home from school, you need to get dinner and do homework and do all those things, put food on the table, to have to worry that like my house is leaking and am I going to have mold and all of that, like, and then being able to apply to rebuilding together for these services. That's sort of the thought in my head that keeps me going and volunteering, because I just want everybody, to have their fair shot, right?
Yeah, we all
Yeah.
deserve a chance. We
Yeah.
have another question related actually in the
Hmm.
chat. How do we choose which homes or communities to support? That's a great question.
Yes.
We, the organization was really small until Superstorm Sandy hit. And after 2012, we did a lot of work in the coastal communities of Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island, because those were the hardest hit by Superstorm Sandy. And we've always done work citywide, and those contracts, those recovery dollars that we received to do that work, we parlayed into our critical home repair contracts today, and the accessibility modification contracts that we have today in all 5 boroughs. Now, homeowners are eligible largely by their income and assets. They have to be low to moderate income, and we we collect a lot of documents to verify that for our funders and to make sure that we're serving eligible folks. And we serve them largely in the order in which we receive their application and it's completed. And like I said, all 5 boroughs. There are a couple of exceptions, like we've already talked about leaky roofs, or faulty like electrical wiring. If there is a particularly hazardous situation in a home, from time to time, we will bump that homeowner up on the list if they're not going to be seen soon. So that's how we choose the homes and the communities, and that's a little bit about the criteria. Now, because our history has been, and our office is in Brooklyn, we've done so much work in Brooklyn and Queens particularly. When we brought back our build days after the pandemic, we decided to focus on the Bronx so we could have more of an impact in the Bronx. So a lot of our build days in those big gardens are all in the Bronx, which has been fun. And it's great to be able to say we have a little bit of a footprint in the Bronx. We also, speaking of the Bronx, have a large contract, our biggest ever, from New York State. It's called the Targeted Home Improvement Program. The state developed a funding opportunity for communities across the state. In New York City, they focused on the Bronx and about half the Bronx zip codes. So right now we are doing a concerted effort to reach homeowners in those zip codes to do our critical home repair and accessibility work in the Bronx. So I'm really excited that we have that opportunity to even, to kind of step up our home repair game in the Bronx as well.
Yeah, and for anyone who may not be familiar with government grants, they're amazing and they do great work, but they don't always cover all of the the money that's needed to execute the grant. So we're currently fundraising to do more outreach in the Bronx. I don't think we've mentioned this, but there's a lot of trust that needs to be gained in order to be able to do work in someone's house, right? A lot of people might have been through an experience where they trusted a contractor and the contractor took the money, they didn't come back. And so, we need to really have presence in the Bronx and have outreach there so that we can win over the trust of the neighborhood and find the people that really need the critical home repair. So if anyone on this rally knows of someone in the Bronx that needs home repair, we are here and we're eager to help. And we're also looking to fundraise to hire more for outreach to get in the Bronx. So critical area for us.
Yeah, it will be helpful to build the capacity of our housing preservation team. They do such great work, and we'd do even more if we had a little bit more support. So thank you for that plug, Laura.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so I know we have a really exciting video to show. We've been getting some press. Valerie, I know this is all you're doing, getting some great press from New York 12.
News 12, the Bronx.
News 12, do you want to tee up the video?
Awesome.
Great.
Yeah, and thank you, Ashley. She's in the background helping us today.
New this morning in today's segment of Rebuilding the Bronx, we're checking back in with Rebuilding Together NYC. News 12's Lindsay Tanny shows us how the group is making critical home repairs to make living easier for those who need it.
Have you ever seen a bathtub that you can walk into? Well, this is just one of the accessibility modifications that Rebuild Together NYC is making for a homeowner right here in the Bronx.
I had to have help from my home health aide, and now I can do a little bit more on my own.
Harry Nadeau is partially paralyzed. Basic house tasks are difficult. Rebuilding Together NYC is taking that stress away.
We're trying to make this space a little bit more habitable and functional for him.
We made the 3 closets into one big walk-in closet. We installed brand new tile, brand new grout.
The accessible tub, a new sink is on the way, and all these lights can be voice activated. This is what it looked like a week ago, but now this month-long renovation is almost done.
Being home and seeing the changes that are starting to happen in the apartment are really grand.
If you're interested in getting a critical home repair, take a look at your screen. These are the zip codes Rebuilding Together NYC is targeting. They have grant money set aside for your home. Scan the screen to learn more about this program and see if you're eligible.
You can relax, it has bubbles.
In Fordham, Lindsay Tanny, News 12, The Bronx.
Yeah, we're so grateful for News 12. They have adopted us this year, and we are part of their series called Rebuilding the Bronx. They're supporting a number of initiatives by highlighting the work that's happening to kind of strengthen those communities. So every month we're going to feature another homeowner and another project. You got to see quickly Shane Perez Martin, our construction project manager, who oversees the contractors that do the work, and a happy homeowner who has accessibility challenges and mobility is limited. So we're thrilled that we're able to help him actually maneuver around his home a little bit better and have what he needs in order to feel comfortable. So yeah, thank you. A little shout out to News 12 The Bronx.
Yeah, shout out to Shane, who is so incredibly patient. Maybe we talked about doing these community days and volunteering. You do not have to have any skills because we have Shane who can teach you how to have the skills if you're volunteering. So I know at She Builds this past year, there was a lot of people who had never used a drill before, and Shane teaches everyone. We use safety equipment, goggles, and all the things, and you get to use saws and drills and develop a lot of good life skills that can help you out. But Shane's great. He's such a great addition to our program.
Yeah, he's awesome. And we have some great contractors. So if you go to News 12's website or to our YouTube channel, you could also look at our the feature. It's only 90 seconds that was done in January as well. And there's, of course, information on our website for anybody who's interested in a build day, careers in construction, referring a potential student to the class or a homeowner, all of that information is available and those applications are on our website. And the website is rebuildnyc.org.
Yes. And I think Ashley's going to share our Instagram handle as well. She does a good job of posting on our Instagram, so you can see all the stories and warmed your heart.
Yeah. Thank you, Ashley. She's in the background doing the tech support today and playing the video.
Yes. Okay. Any other questions? Let's see in the Q&A. You have an Instagram page. Okay. Well, we just answered that one. Seems like we're good. So, Valerie, any other last thoughts before I close us out here?
No, I would just say, we're kind of a small but mighty nonprofit doing, I think, really impactful work. And so thank you for joining us today and spreading the word about Rebuilding Together NYC.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining. It is February 27th, so you still have 10 more months of the year. This is our rally for the year to get going. So there's lots to do. Please reach out to us. I'm open to any discussions. We're looking for even board members and people to come volunteer and help us out. So thank you so much. Change doesn't happen by choice. By chance, it happens by choice. So thank you for choosing to spend your lunch with us today. I hope you enjoyed your peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And we can see you again soon on another Rebuilding Rally. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye.